All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Shireen Banakdar. I'm a brain-based chiropractor as well as a functional nutritionist and detox specialist. And we have an office in Frisco, Texas called Harmony Wellness. You can always find us on www.harmonywellness- or frisco.com. You can follow us on YouTube, on all of our social media, listen to our weekly podcast, or follow us on 100.7. That's our Talk with a Doc show. Today, well, right now it's a time that everybody's getting a cold or a flu because of all these temperature changes that are happening outside, and our bodies are having a difficult time getting used to them. So I'm going to go over 4 things you should avoid in order to boost your immune system. And then we'll talk about 4 things you should do in our next video of things that could help to boost your immune system. But immune system, as many of you may know, it's a system in our body that helps us to fight viruses and bacteria and pathogens in general. It plays a very important role in protecting us against the things that we're exposed to in the environment. It's also very important in modulating an inflammatory response within our body. So when our immune system goes haywire, we could get things like autoimmune diseases, things like psoriasis, eczema, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, different pain systems. Our immune system is essential for our health as well as our survival. So our immune system is what keeps us healthy, and it protects our body from viruses, from bacteria. If you want to understand immune system, you have to kind of imagine a network of cells that work together, and they have different levels of involvement. So when we're first exposed to a virus or a bacteria, a certain cells come in, then they get a different system to come in and back them up. And then we work ourselves through different levels of immunity to make sure that we are safe. Of course, if the system is not working properly, we're going to get immune deficiencies. And if the system is working too much and it's haywired and it's under a lot of stress, we're going to get autoimmunity. What we want to talk about are 4 things that actually affect your immune system negatively. And we want to make sure that we avoid those. So whether you're an immune deficient person or you have a cold or flu, you're dealing with something right now, or you have an autoimmunity, these 4 things will really, really help your immune system. As a matter of fact, these are cornerstones of what we work with most of our autoimmunity patients. So, number 1 is the high sugar and carb intake. If your diet includes mainly sugar and carb, you're in big trouble. The reason for it is that your sugar molecules look very similar to vitamin C molecules. When vitamin C gets into the cells, it helps our immune system to work properly. It helps us to become stronger. But sugar competes for vitamin C receptors inside of our cells. So if you're taking sugar all the time, sugar will almost always win and will enter the cell using a receptor we call GLUT1. And it takes a priority over vitamin C. Therefore, it hinders the immune function. Excess sugar can also feed different infections, things like candida, because while you're depleting critical nutrients like vitamin C, glutathione, and zinc. That means that in the presence of a high sugar diet, you would need even more of these immune boosters for optimal function. Number 2 is poor sleep. I think I have programs over the last couple of years where we talk about sleep, and we talk about it quite a bit of how important it is. Please go ahead and you can watch any of our YouTube on sleep. We talk about what are some of the things you could avoid and what are some of the things you could do to get good sleep. But poor sleep in general is tied to poor immune function. Consistently getting poor sleep results in upregulation of certain inflammatory processes, as well as poor blood sugar balance and metabolic disorders. So you want to make sure that you get a good sleep every night. This is one of the most important immune boosters right next to sunlight exposure. So poor sleep, what it does is it heightens our stress response in our nervous system, and a heightened stress response and elevated stress cortisol levels prolonged periods, they really inhibit proper immune system functions as well. So when we talk to our autoimmune patients, one of the things we always talk about is a sleep hygiene, and a sleep training. As a matter of fact, when you become a patient in our office, as part of the questionnaire we give you to fill out, we have about 7 or 8 questions that just focuses on sleep. That is how important sleep is to your healing as well as it is to your nervous system. Number 4 is drinking unfiltered water. Municipal tap water can have many toxic elements in it. There are things like chlorine, like fluoride, like heavy metals. They all increase the toxic load on the body. Now, I come from Toronto, Canada. That's where I lived all my life. And we've moved to Texas right now. And in Canada, we had a reverse osmosis filter. And in Texas, we got a reverse osmosis filter as well. So investing in a really good water filtration system is probably one of the best things you could do to improve your immune system. Clean water and good minerals is what your body needs in order to properly conduct electrical signals. The brain is what controls everything in our system, and it does that by sending messages through our spinal cord. All of those messages, all of that communication is happening with because of the electrical signals within our body. So if your hydration is low, that's not going to happen properly. That can cause a subluxation. We talk quite a bit about subluxation in our office, but also it can cause poor communication, and that poor communication means poor immune system communication as well as poor healing. Toxic water can inhibit the process of communication within our system, and it essentially impacts every process in our body in a very negative manner. So when you're drinking water, and I am drinking mine, you could add a squeeze of lemon to it. You could add some lemon essential oil, which, by the way, is one of my favorites. So we use quite a bit of doTERRA in our system, but they are other essential oils that are fantastic. I just know of doTERRA. That's the one I'm talking about. So number 4 is not getting enough sun. Oh my God, I have an entire podcast on importance of vitamin D, actually an entire 5 or 6 podcasts, but we're going to do a short one for you. As technology progresses, what happens is we end up indoors all the time away from the sun. And sunlight is absolutely vital to proper immune function. Getting sun exposure in the morning primes our circadian rhythm that supports optimal sleep at night. All right, so sunlight exposure is so important for vitamin D. And as you know, vitamin D is a precursor to all sorts of different hormones within your system, like progesterone, like estrogen, like testosterone. So you want to make sure that you're getting that vitamin D exposure. So spending more times indoor can be very harmful when you also consider that indoor air quality is really low, or there's artificial light exposure. There's also electromagnetic field exposure. So you want to get that unobstructed sun exposure when you wake up and around midday. They are both very important for your immune system. So I hope that you enjoyed learning about this. We are going to talk about some products that we're going to use to boost our immune system next. We're going to go over some natural things that we could do to balance our immune system. And we will be educating you so that you could take ownership of your health. That is what we want, so that you're educated enough, you have the information and the products available for you so that you could do everything that you need to do in order to stay fit and to stay healthy. So this is Dr. Shireen Banakdar. I am a brain-based chiropractor, functional nutritionist, and detox specialist. We're right here, harmonywellness-frisco.com. God bless you. Remember who you are.